made by Ambassador Kuyate. The president also made it clear that in as much as he does not micromanage those that he appoints, and he respects dissenting views, but those views are given within the confines of alignment. And after you leave, your utterances out there should reflect the vision of the administration, part of which is working collaboratively with all branches of government, especially the House of Representatives and Senate. The ambassador, in the conversation with the president, obviously I was privileged to be in that room, clarified that he had no intentions whatsoever to make remarks or to denigrate the honorable legislature. He promised the president that going forward, any statement that he intends to make will first be reviewed and approved by the president. The president also made it quite clear that he respects the working relationship he has with the legislature and that he expects all of us as his appointees to always respect and uphold that. And he promised the president that this particular incident will never occur again. And therefore, the president asked him and all of us to accompany him to come here and find a way forward and to make sure that the promises that he's made to the president will be upheld, which is to respect all of us as colleagues and as members of various branches of government in the execution of our duties. And therefore, distinguished honorables, for the actions that were taken by an appointee of the president, we assure you that the president does not endorse them. And we are very regretful that it has brought us to this moment where anyone will even start to doubt whether we have a collaborative working relationship. And therefore, we appeal to you to have mercy and to allow us as colleagues in the administration to continue to work within the administration. Some of us are very exuberant, and in the discharge of our functions, we slip, and we may not reflect deeply on what our remarks, the impact it will have. And I dare say this is one of those instances. And therefore, we've come here not to be confrontational, but to be respectful of the work that you do as direct representatives of the people, and to also convey to you the president's disposition on this particular incident.
What do you think is the way forward?
Yes.
No.
Speaker, before we go to that way
What do
forward.
you think is the way forward?
Honorable Speaker, as to the way forward, please allow me to defer to Ambassador Kuyate.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished lawmakers, as the Honorable Minister stated, we had a meeting with the President earlier before coming here. It was very clear. He said the relationship the executive enjoy with the legislature is something that should encourage us to work with them, to support them instead of criticizing them. So I regret my statement and withdraw it. And I ask that my intention might have been misinterpreted. For any reason, who misunderstood it, or whoever misinterpreted it, my
You
still making the same mistake.
because the information there is in Facebook.
I want to read.
So we expect something to come after to conclude this thing. And we keep dragging, and apparently he don't want to be. No.
The
It's like the
man
president
very
do.
boastful.
So please, Mr. President, let's solve this problem once and for all. Now that you regret, what do you want us to do? Now please, let's see what please. You say you regret, let us see what you say.
Let me see social media and apologize. Social media and newspaper. Apologize.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, our distinguished members of the House of Representatives, as I stated, I regret my statement, and I still hold this August body in high esteem, and I have great respect for you. And by the words of the President, I also want to use this time to say to you, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And you do kind of apologize.
The president said, sorry. Yeah.
And the man go back and feel like
There you go.
Honorable colleagues, this is what I expected from the ambassador to come to be remorseful, to say I sincerely apologize for the statement I made. Maybe the way, like the honorable minister said, sometimes we as lawmakers were making some statement, we are carried away by the crowd. We are carried away maybe by our appearances or where we are. The fact that he had realized and he came by being remorseful, I want to join him and other people from the executive. Also ask our police for us to pardon him and accept his apology in good faith. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Comment, please.
comment.
I just want to make this clarity. What we do here, these things that we carry on, they are not personal. It's in the interest of the entire government and the people of Liberia. When these statements, when some statements are made by policymakers, it carries weight. And so the best we can do, because we are three branches of government, but we have a coordinate. So if one branch of government is being accused, it means the entire government, especially so with these concessions, it comes from the executive. They negotiate, they initiate concession, and it will come here. And we just got to check to show that it's in line with rules and regulations set up. That's our job there. We don't negotiate concession. So in saying that, it means the entire government, and you being an ambassador, you should be portraying the country's image in a positive way at all times. And so it will absolutely trigger something. So my stand, or the stand that we take in this legislation, they are not personal. It's not against you or anybody in particular. But when we make this, if I go out tomorrow and say, for instance, Honorable Kane is corrupt, it's going to be flown with. And no matter what you say, it will be seen as truth. But if the ordinary Liberian say, or the Kononko, it's not going to carry any weight. So this goes to all of us to ensure that we guard our, even if we are firebrand to say it, it's best that we remove ourselves. For us, legislature, we can stand on it because we directly represent the people. So be like, I'm speaking on their behalf. But you cannot definitively say this is this, especially if there's no strong evidence to point to it. Even if it's there, come in and have a conversation, find a way forward, because we are bound by the Constitution or the oath that we take to show that we carry the country's positive image at all times. So it's not a personal thing. It's for all of us good and all of us benefit, because we want to see that this government move forward, even for the final match of this country.
No, you don't say that.
Okay.
Overseer, way forward. Overseer, way forward, please.
Colleagues,
Go for the depending on you.
what we've done here today, especially listening to the Minister of State, is a demonstration that the three branches of government, they are working for common good. And whilst we respect the executive, we demand respect also from the executive. And fortunately for us, Mr. Speaker, most of the officials in the executive, to a large extent, we've worked together many places, and so we think that we already have a good understanding, and so we are happy that we are here, that we are trying to find a way forward. Mr. Speaker, you've just listened to two meetings just before the minister came, and I'm sure those were done either before or after he even met the president. And so I'm not sure whether his apology is sincere. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I move, let me second it, that to show how genuine this apology is, Mr. Kuyate, Ambassador Kuyate, will officially write the House a letter of apology, and that letter of apology will be published in 4 newspapers 4 times between tomorrow and Friday. He will also sit. He will also sit on the same station he made a statement on, OKFM, on or before Wednesday, and do a report. After those are done, his apology will be considered genuine and accepted.
With the way forward bill presented in detail by the very honorable Nation and Sibo Nukutan, are you all right to vote? Are you all right to vote?
Yeah.
All those who feel making them put your right hand up.
Not level.
Oh, unanimous vote, the vote is hereby carried, vote hereby so ordered.
Lofa County, it is the no-go zone. And the reason is simple. This guy that stay here on the microphone is the man that led the folks in the Lofa 2023 that took the CDC from 7% to 37%. This is the guy that is on this team. I'm on your team, Mr. President. I'm on your team. That number will go right back. That percentage, I will give it back to you along with my team. We'll give it back to you. And they know very well what I'm talking about. It's serious, and Lofa, our people are resolved. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity. Amen. Thank you, my distinguished colleagues. God bless you.
I'm not going to be a part of any political dog cat. What do I mean? In the political war, when you want to be a dog, be a dog. If you want to be a cat, be a cat. You can be a dog cat. What that suggests is Honorable Thomas Fowler is from a different political school of thought, from the CDC.
He is no longer there.
I appreciate his decision to support President Boakai administration. Let's forget about 2029. We President Boakai, not his interest right now. What we can do for the Liberian people is President Boakai's concern right now. So, for you to determine that you're coming from one political entity and you will support the re-election of President Boakai, but you are not going to be a part, you will not support the political party that brought him to power, to the extent that you begin to ridicule the leadership, the leaders of that party.
How is he ridiculing the Unity Party?
Just a few days ago, the honorable gentleman was on radio declaring that leaders of the Unity Party are riding vehicles with their tinted
I think you are just
windshields up.
cautioning.
Okay, good. Thank
So
you.
yesterday we had a training
Okay.
and slash meeting wherein the nursing directors of GFA, the overall nursing directors, Mrs. Joker and Lulu came along to talk with
You
all
say who
the nursing directors, Mrs. Joker
and who?
and Lulu,
Okay.
who is one of the managers at GFA.
Okay.
The both of them came along, they did a training. It was an in-service training. After the training, like they brought some PPEs. Yes. So they were like putting us on the alert that, oh, we need to be very careful whilst we're giving care. Yes. Even when we're going into any patient, we should have long sleeves on, and we should make sure if we're not okay with any patient, we should get a PPE on to keep safe. Yes. The reason of this alert is because there's some set of group of people that went to Uganda for a conference, and they are being back in like, and these people passed through the airport, and the airport authority, that was Mrs. Joko was saying it. He said the airport authority didn't notice until they already passed. That's the time they noticed that they came from Uganda. Yeah. He said among those people, about 5 of them were sick and was brought to GFA.
You're sick of what?
They were sick and was brought to GFA, and they were showing all the signs and symptoms of Ebola. Their eyes were red, their ears were red.
Who was saying this to you?
Mrs. Joker was saying it to the body, the entire body. Yes, their eyes were red, their ears were red, and all the signs. GFA could not handle it, so they had to call the surveillance team and hand over the case to it. Yes. They're just saying as a way of precaution, so at least everything we're doing, we got to be very careful, even though the Ministry of Health have not come to say it yet, but we should be careful because as nurses, we are the first liners here. So they just thought of telling us. So when I went home, I called my children, I gave them a lot about the present situation that is going on, and I also work at Home for Women. So I decided to
You work at Home for Women?
Home for Women.
As
yes.
who?
I'm a nurse there too.
Okay.
So I decided to alert my nurses. Yes. So I sent a recording to them, alerting them because like I tried to call, these people were not online in the chat room. So I decided to send a recording to them just to alert them about what is going on because we are nurses. I never did this in any political field. I never did it to gain influence. I only did it to protect my fellow nurses in the other facility that I work, so at least they can be aware. As I said, and I will say again, the nursing director, Mrs. Juko, was the one that was enlightening the nurses of the present situation and cautioning us. She was the one that made the statement.
So, how JFK get involved into it?
As I said, Mrs. Zuka said in her quote, there's some set of people that went for some kind of conference in Uganda and they are back. And among these people, 5 of them was taken to GFK because they were sick. Yes. And they came down with all the signs and symptoms of Ebola and GFK couldn't handle it. So they had to send them to the surveillance team.
Okay. Good morning, Liberia. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing, I'd like to say a pleasant welcome. This is the Today Show here on Spoon 107.5. We are also live on Fabric 101.1, Super TV, Fabric TV, Spoon TV, and via our YouTube channel at Spoon Talk. Welcome. This is your most preferred breakfast program, the program that gives you everything that is needed for your breakfast. Today happens to be the 26th day of the month of May, and gradually the month of May is slipping away from us. Very, very soon, June is going to be right here with us, and this heavy, downpour of rain. We already in the rainy season, and you know that. So wherever you're going, you want to go alongside all of your rain gears, so that you cannot be caught unaware and be soaked by the rain. So quickly, talking about the rain, let's bring to the weather forecast. Most parts of Liberia, including Monrovia, today will be cloudy with the rain expected later in the afternoon, in the evening and afternoon. Yeah. So most parts of Liberia, including Monrovia, today will be cloudy with the rain expected later in the afternoon and in the evening. So you want to expect cloudy skies for the most of the day. Rain is likely to fall in many areas, possible thunderstorms later today, and a warm, humid weather. Temperature is going to be around 24 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius across the country. So you are advised, like I said earlier on, to carry along your umbrella or your raincoat. Drivers should be careful on wet roads, because, sometimes when you want to accelerate hard on a wet road, it becomes a problem. You get involved in accident and all of that. So you want to be very careful on the muddy road. People living in flood-prone areas should also stay alert. So if your community is a community where flood usually occurs, then you have to stay alert. You have to stay alert. Don't leave, the kids in the house when heavy rain is falling, especially when your community is a flood-prone community. Don't just leave the kids home because you don't know what might happen. They may just want to, go and take bath on the rain. When they see, the floor, they may want to go and jump in the water to have fun time, and something else may happen. They may get drowned and all of that. So you want to take note of that as well. Okay, so folks, that's it this morning. Sylvester, you have to, that area is not working at all. So I'm thinking about the StreamYard. We're having some problem with it there. I think you are seeing it there. You're not seeing yourself. So you have to readjust. In the meantime, if you can adjust, the other computer to bring yourself on. I think we will appreciate that. So, folks, welcome to it. Firstly, we cut across Liberia, and we'll be speaking with our various correspondents this morning. They'll be telling us exactly what's happening in respective counties. We speak with our Lofa County correspondent in Lofa County. We also go to Gbapolo County, and in Gbapolo County, we understand the Minister of Mines and Energy is there carrying out inspection. Amidst illegal mining in the country, and I think that is important, for the minister to do. So we'll be speaking with our correspondent there in Gbapolo County to bring us up to speed with the workings of the minister. There this morning at 9 o'clock, folks, we will play host to the former head of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. As we know, we got Ebola situation in Central Africa, in the DR Congo, and Uganda. And the cases there are increasing by the day. I mean, the virus is spreading like a wildfire in those regions. So Liberia as a country has got to be on the alert. And so we decided to bring in today the former head, Director General of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, and a public health expert and an award-winning scientist, Dr. Dugbe Chris Yarn, here today to talk about the Ebola situation, to talk about Liberia's preparedness, to contain Ebola, just in case. We're not praying for it. We're not wanting Ebola in this country. We're not wishing for it. But again, you cannot just sit supinely and say you're not wishing for it. There is a possibility, even though DRC Congo and Uganda are far away from Liberia, but with the movement of people from one place to another, there is a possibility that Liberia can get a case or suspect a case. And just in case that happens, how prepared is the country to tackle the virus? How prepared is the country to contain the virus, to prevent it from spreading like it was in 2014. We don't want to see the repeat of that. So Dr. Chris Dugbe Yarn is going to be our guest here at 9 o'clock to discuss that, plus other issues pertaining his ongoing legal matters with the government of Liberia. So that's the lineup of our show this morning. Again, my name is Yekezi Zwobel. We will take a very short break. When we come back, we cut across Liberia and we speak to our various correspondents.
The president was very clear that he does not endorse the statements that were made by Ambassador Kuyate. The president also made it clear that in as much as he does not micromanage those that he appoints, and he respects dissenting views, but those views are given within the confines of alignment. And after you leave, your utterances out there should reflect the vision of the administration, part of which is working collaboratively with all branches of government, especially the House of Representatives and Senate. The ambassador, in the conversation with the president, obviously I was privileged to be in that room, clarified that he had no intentions whatsoever to make remarks or to denigrate the honorable legislature. He promised the president that going forward, any statements that he intends to make will first be reviewed and approved by the president. The president also made it quite clear that he respects the working relationship he has with the legislature and that he expects all of us as his appointees always respect.
A pleasant welcome back. You're listening to the Today Show right here on Spawn 107.5. Let's quickly go to Lofa County, not Lofa, but Gbapolo County, where the Mines and Energy Minister is carrying out inspection at various mining sites. To hear from our correspondent, Solomon Tipler is on the line. Solomon, good morning and welcome. How are you? How is Gbapolo County? How is Boporo City this morning?
Good morning. And Gbapolo is good this morning. Unlike the weather is cloudy here in Boporo City, to show you the clear picture of how Boporo City is looking this morning.
Okay, welcome. Tell us. We understand that the Mines and Energy Minister is there to carry out an inspection. Has he already begun the inspection process? And if so, how has it been?
Yeah, so the Minister of Mines and Energy, Aro Martineke Timba, is currently in the county along with his team. And basically, on yesterday, they started the tour. He said it's part of a nationwide tour to visit all mining sites in Liberia. So Gbapolo is one of those counties. They've been hearing, or he's been hearing about Gbapolo, where people are doing mining. And some of them are not in compliance when it comes to the ministry's regulations. And some of those laws that are governing the mining sector in the country. So he started the tour on yesterday because they
please go ahead.
It's the Henrytown mining site where we have a huge number of Burkinabés are operating in that particular area. To be specific, in Henrytown itself, you have Burkinabé doing mining in that particular area. But you can see, it was so saddening yesterday. It was so frustrating to see somebody who is from the ministry, like the Minister of Mines and his team, to have visited that site on yesterday. And when he sent the first thing, he never moved on the site. He sent his team to go to do it. And Burkinabé yesterday, they set a roadblock stopping the team from entering that particular area. So yesterday, the minister expressed his frustration, and he even told the Burkinabés, because knowing the fact, we know the history of Burkinabé, especially for Liberia, how both of them left their country and they are currently in Liberia doing mining. Some of them are doing planting of live crops in other counties. And Burkinabé to engage Minister of Mines, the team from the ministry, to set a roadblock yesterday. He got frustrated yesterday. So he spoke with them, knowing the fact that they are violated. So what he did yesterday, he ordered all excavators, all of those yellow machines and all of those material being used in that on that particular mining area to have those excavator truck to come to Henrytown on yesterday. So he's still on the tour. And yesterday the team also went to
let's stick with the initial area he inspected. So according to you, he has sent a team ahead, to go and do fast funding, and the Burkinabés who are manning in that particular area set up a roadblock stopping that team from doing the fast funding the minister was sent to do. The minister sent them to do. Now, the minister himself went there, and what you said was his action against those Boginam beats.
So the action that was taken by the minister to have all of those excavators, all of those machines being used at a mining site to be tracked to come to Herringtown, which is
when you say to be tracked, are you saying they were confiscated? Are you saying they were seized?
They were seized.
Okay.
They were seized. You know, an excavator taking from one point to another is referred to as tracking.
Okay.
So he ordered those excavators to be tracked from that particular mining site to be taken to one of the towns, the main town called Herringtown.
Okay, so it means they are no longer carrying on their mining activities because
those machines were tracked yesterday and brought to Herringtown.
Okay.
And the second mining area the team visited was one town they called Mulita. We did reported about this story when the EPA went to that particular mining site and have them shut down. So usually what we observe or what the minister observed on yesterday that EPA have shut those that particular company down called the Nugget Group of Companies. They have been operating for years now in that particular terrain. And citizens are really benefiting from their mining activities in that particular area. They were not adhering to all of those EPA's laws that have been laid down. They were not having EPA permits. So on that ground, EPA decided to have them shut down. And they were shut down. But what we observe, and what the minister also observed yesterday, that usually when those guys have been shut down, as soon as the EPA and the other mining authorities turn their back, they will go and start to operate. So on yesterday, the minister along with the team
there's you know, agents from the Ministry of Mines and Energy and of course from the EPA deploying those, you know, counties to ensure that whatever decision or action taken by those ministries, you know, are adhered to, or is it that, you know, none of those institutions have agents in Gbapulu County to monitor the activities?
Yes, we have those two ministries. We have offices here in Bupulu City. We have the EPA office here in Bupulu City, which of course the team here in Bupulu City from the Environmental Protection Agency are doing our best to make sure that all of those regulations are being put into place. But the systems and the places are challenged, so you would not have one person going to an area over and again. So those guys use the means as an opportunity for them. As soon as the inspectors from the EPA leaves, then they themselves they go back to work because with the shutting down notice being given them. As soon as the EPA inspector leaves the ground, they will start to operate. So on yesterday, when the minister went there, they saw the excavators were all on. They were in full operation, except those Chinese. Can you imagine you are in Liberia, you are doing mining instead of hiring or Liberian excavator operator, but those Chinese are the ones that are doing the operating of those excavators. So on yesterday, when the ministers decided to move in that particular area, all of those Chinese that were operating those yellow machines, all of them fled the scene.
Okay. All right. So far, only two areas the Minister of Mines and Energy has been able to visit and carry out inspection.
Now, two areas. But currently, the minister is still in the county. He promised to tour almost all of the districts in Gbapulu County because we have 6 administrative districts in Gbapulu, and he have just started in district number 1, which is the Gbapulu district area. He plans to go Gongulala, Bukumu, Bele, and the rest of the districts.
Okay, Solo, thank you very much. We keep in touch with you so that you keep us apprised with what's happening there, especially as it relates to the minister's inspection across Gbapulu County.
Thank you, Jekasi, for having me this morning.
Okay, you're welcome. So that's it. Solomon Tipler is our Guaporo County correspondent. Let's quickly go over to Lofa County to speak with Jeremiah Double, who's posted there in Vonjaman City, Lofa County, to know what's happening in Lofa County. Okay, we are in getting Tipler, not Tipler, but Jeremiah Double. Yeah, so as we try to connect with Dobar, let's welcome Sylvester Wowi to the show. Sylvester, welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Yakazi. And let me say good morning to our, I think, listeners on our questions this morning.
Okay, yeah, hope we can bring you on later, or, you know, we're having some glitches with the internet in our studio. Hope we can bring you on camera later on. But we have on the line Jeremiah Doppler from Lofa County. Jared, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, you guys.
How are you?
Good morning. Our many listeners are following our show this morning. It's a great pleasure to join me from Lofa County.
How is Lofa County this morning?
Well, Lofa is cool. The atmosphere is cool, and of course, it's part of our life activity. So
okay.
It's just good for Lofa.
How is the Solomba border region? How's the situation there? Is it still the same?
Well, the Solomba issue remains the same, and when I say remain the same, it will have to be like the issue of whether the Guinean soldiers have crossed to Guinea or that's a major thing. But they are still there, but things are coming in Solomba.
Okay.
Even the market custom we talk about, but recently everyday guarding organizations try to identify with some towns and villages along the Solomba area as a result of this passport tension. So visiting the place are also part of the trip. And we saw citizens in Solomba, good number of them. There's a town called Marcos right on the border. We also saw, we each other was citizens there. They are there with our security. So they are some normal activities. Some of them go farm, yes, but it's just cool. It's just about maybe look at the city to that place, but yes, nothing like conversation. But everything is good here. Even those citizens were in my custom because it's right there. Issues were happening, but for now, yes, our people are going back there. They are there. They are doing their normal activities, and the Guineans where they are seated, they are just there. They are just there, and no tension.
Okay, let's move over to other happenings there in Lofa County.
Yeah, so it will basically talk about the recent groundbreaking ceremony in Medicoma. On the 20th of May, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Mamfoy Sr., along with the organization, this company that is responsible to build this Wanyama Medicoma Road, and other government officials, the local council, the local authorities, the citizens themselves all went to Medicoma for this groundbreaking ceremony, and the event went well in Medicoma, and as well, this project is about 86-kilometer road from Wanyama to Medicoma, and is expected, according to Minister Tamba, is expected to go for 3 years, from now to 2028. This project, 2028, 2029, for its total completion. So the public board who have been given this contract, they are already counted with huge equipment. So have this project started. So they're going to start from the Medicoma side coming towards Wanyama, and while they counted, they may ask the local authority and the government that at least when such effort, when such project is encountered, it has to benefit the citizens themselves. So they're going to be inclusive. When I say inclusive, it means that citizens from local county, they themselves going to be part of the process by working with this company to ensure that this project will go on successfully. But there are mixed reactions with regard to the road issue because there's a road, the road continues from Medekoma Street to Banga. But there's a breakthrough of the road from Salaye to Wandema. And so different organizations or different company on our side of the road, that is the Chico who taking the road from Golu to Salaye. And now President said as well, come next month, June, they're going to be another groundbreaking for the road construction from Salaye to Konya. And then after all, there will also be another process from Konya to Wanyama. So he mentioned that he's going to do everything to ensure that the road connectivity for local counties from Medekoma Street to Banga is adhering to, because they have been a long time activities. And when this road is built, they have to boost the economic system and provide job for people, and that's what farmer will get. We'll have competition in their farming activities on a day-to-day activity because they will have access to road connectivity.
Okay, Solomon, thank you very much. Sorry, we don't have the luxury of time. Thank you for joining us from Lofa County this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So, Jeremiah Doba, not Solomon. Jeremiah Doba. I call it the man Solomon. Solomon, and he's saying thank you. That's Jeremiah Doba from Lofa County, Wandema there, speaking about the recent groundbreaking of the Medekoma Road by the President, Joseph Yuma Boakai. It's 12 minutes, climbing up to 9 o'clock. And I think at the now, Sylvester, you can log in now. I think the internet should be, yeah, so you can try to connect to, the Wi-Fi, and I think it should be okay. It was fluctuating because I was, using the phone. But welcome, folks. This is the Today Show. My name is Yekazi Zogwe. Sylvester Wowi is here. Let's go into some of the trending national issues in the country. So, recently, the ambassador at large, Mustafa Kwayete, Sheikh Mustafa Kwayete, is ambassador at large. Ambassador at large, those ambassadors that are, sent on special assignment by the government, by the president, and all of that. So he's Liberia's ambassador at large. So of recent, he appeared on, I think it was Orchid FM. Are you logging now? Okay. So of recent, he appeared on Orchid FM. And of course, he made a statement there. He termed the lawmakers as corrupt, the legislature as corrupt, and that they sign concession agreements, not to benefit the people of Liberia, their constituents, but rather to benefit themselves. And so, predicated upon that statement, the ambassador at large, Sheikh Mustafa Kwayete, was summoned by the House of Representatives. And the communication summoning him was written by Priscilla Cooper, Representative Priscilla Cooper. Someone was scheduled for last week, but it was postponed to yesterday. And of course, yesterday he did appear alongside the Minister of State and other hierarchies from the Ministry of State. So before his appearance, and I hope I can quickly get to his social media handles he made some Facebook posts. He made a post on Facebook that's interesting, you know. Saying that he will be appearing before the lawmakers, you know, for statements that he made on OKFM, and that he's not going to apologize for that statement. Yeah, so I'm trying to get the statement here. Once I get it, I will read it. Okay. Yep. So this is the statement that the Sheikh made prior to his first appearance. Yeah. So just pardon me. I'm trying to get it. I think I've passed it. Yeah, but the statement. Basically, what he said is that, you know, he's not going to apologize to the lawmakers. What he's going to do is that he's not going to kind of clarify the statement that he made. That's the only thing he said he's going to do. He's not going to clarify his statement that he made. He said his allegiance is not for the lawmakers. His allegiance is to the Republic of Liberia. Yeah, and even when you know, stating the pledge of allegiance to the Republic of Liberia in that post, that was the initial post, you know, prior to his first appearance, because like I said, he was, you know, summoned to appear last week, but then probably because of other engagements that the House of Representatives had, they postponed his appearance to yesterday. Yesterday, before he could appear, he wrote this on his social media page. And this is what he said. He said, "Today I will stand as a mirror before the 55th legislature. I will stand as a mirror. If they break me because of their ugliness, I am prepared. If they preserve me because of their honorable images, I am prepared. The public will judge the mayoral by the images of the House of Representatives. No matter their decision, my conviction remains as allegiance to the flag of Liberia and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia." Yeah, I'm still trying to find his okay, so this is his initial post. On May 20, he said, "We have had former presidents." Okay. He said, and I read, "We have had former presidents, lawmakers, or regimes. However, we can never have a former Liberia. Our stance is an allegiance to the flag of Liberia and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will not apologize, but I will clarify my statement." That's what he said. And then yesterday, he did appear before the legislature and ended up apologizing after taking social media, bragging, you know, that he would not apologize. He would clarify his statement that, you know, he stands for what he said on KFM. He came up and later on apologized to the lawmakers. And now, guess what? The lawmakers are requiring him, because they think his apology was not sincere. And so the Honorable Dixon Sibo, who raised the motion for these punitive measures to be taken to, you know, actually show his sincerity, you know, moved that he first step writes a communication to the House of Representatives apologizing. So he's going to write the House of Representatives and say they are corrupt. He will write there apologizing to them for such statement. The second thing he would do, the apology will be published in 4 local dailies, in 4 newspapers. 4 newspapers. And then he will go back on OPFM, where he made a statement, to sit there again and then apologize. Retract the statement on OKFM and then apologize. So that is what the lawmakers requested of him. That is what the lawmakers required of him on yesterday. And of course, that's what he's going to do. That's what he's required to do. But, you know, what made this whole thing interesting, he himself made the entire thing interesting. You know, because people going very before the lawmakers in social media and say, oh, I want to apologize, you know, my allegiance is to the flag, it's to the Republic of Liberia, it's not to, you know, lawmaker. I would not apologize. The only thing I will clarify my statement. I don't want to do. But now, second stuff I went before the lawmakers, story changed. He apologized. And let's play his apology for you. And then we can bring in Sylvester Warwick. This is Sheikh Mustafa Payete apologizing.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished lawmakers, as the Honorable Minister stated, we had a meeting with the President earlier before coming here. It was very clear. He said the relationship the executive enjoy with the legislature is something that should encourage us to work with them, to support them instead of criticizing them. So I regret my statement and withdraw it. And I ask that my intention might have been misinterpreted, but for any reason, who misunderstand it, or whoever misinterpreted it, my
You still making the same mistake.
Because the information there is a Facebook. I want to read. That's a different one.
So we expect something to come after to conclude this thing. And we keep dragging, and apparently you don't want to believe, you don't know.
The man very boastful.
So please, Mr. President, let's solve this problem once and for all. Now that you regret, what do you want us to do? Now please, let's see over please. You say you regret, let us do it.
Let me see social media and apologize. Social media and newspaper.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, our distinguished members of the House of Representatives, as I stated, I regret my statement and I still hold this August body in high esteem, and I have great respect for you. And by the way, to the President, I also want to use this time to say to you, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. And you do the kind of apologize now?
Back now. The President said, I was sorry.
Yeah.
And the man will go back and feel that. President sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So that is it. Sylvester, please mute. I just muted you, please. Yeah. So that is it.
You heard Swiatek spread this statement by directive of the president. Meaning, you have to stay stand by what he said. Look, I will
ratify my statement, but I got no regret for the statement I made. I will ratify it. I'm not going to apologize. So, Keita is telling you, look, Kuyate is telling you, but directive of the president, who is his boss. So, the lawmaker themselves understand that, look, Kuyate still stand by what he said. That they are corrupt and they only make law to benefit themselves. So, he's not telling them, I'm sorry for what I said, but directive of the president.
Okay.
I apologize.
But then what we means you didn't listen to the clip properly. So maybe
maybe
at
the end of this,
I have to replay it.
You go there and you listen to
he started off by saying, "I do regret."
Yeah, he do.
So
regret.
if you do regret, it means
I
mean you are sorry for what you said. You are saying that what you said is a mistake. So coming back to say, by directive of the press, you have already apologized just by saying, I do regret.
Yes,
you have already apologized.
All these things were meant to appease the lawmaker because Kuyate went there with the chief of staff of the president office, the office of the president. So, Emelo, the president got good working relationship with the, lower house, and he don't want to have issue with them. You can be an appointee of the president and disrespect them. So, they have gone there on the method of the president so that the president peace, can regain with the lawmaker.
Yeah. So you got to work.
As a lawmaker, as a law, as a citizen, patriotic citizen of this country, have realized that the lawmakers are corrupt and they only make laws to benefit themselves. So he openly said it. It doesn't matter what come after.
It matters.
Well, I wouldn't apologize.
What comes after matters.
He may appear before the fear there now is one day he may appear before the lawmakers and they may just use what he said against him. So this is why the president has said, look, you have to go and make peace with these people because you are one of my appointees and you can't be in my office and disrespect.
If you make a public statement, okay? You say the lawmakers are corrupt. They sign concessions agreements only to benefit themselves, not to benefit their constituents. They are corrupt. And a few days after, the lawmakers took that as an affront. Representative Priscilla Cooper, decided to write a communication, summoning you because of your statement. To provide clarification and all of that. You were summoned for the first time. I think last week he was summoned. It was postponed to today. Before his appearance, he had gone on social media, boasting, saying, still defending the statement, that this statement, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'd stand by it. This is true. I know what I'm saying. What I'm going to do if I appear before the lawmakers is that I'm going to clarify what I said, but I will not apologize. You went on social media and said that. And you have people in the comment section applauding you for being courageous, for being brave. And then at the end of the day, you went before the lawmakers and then you sit there and then you say you do regret.
And who Kuyate is going to appease? Is it his boss or his supporters who applaud him for the statement he make against the lawmaker? Keita worked at the will and pleasure of President Bouaka, who is dissatisfied with the statement he made and asked him to apologize. So is he going to back off from the president request? And
was it President Bouaka that summoned him?
He worked for President Bouaka.
Was it President Bouaka that summoned him?
It was the lawmaker.
The law, okay.
As a respecter of the law,
okay.
He went to face the lawmaker, and he didn't go alone. He went with the chief of staff from the office of the president.
Okay,
that's tell you that look, the president himself got interest in what he said, and he saw the need to apologize so that the president and the representative can have good rapport, because you can't be in the president office or as a result, you can be
So
here
then-
as
then-
one of Madam Titi employees.
Okay.
Go out there and respect and disrespect one of her business partners.
Sylvester, what would
She
you
would demand me to apologize, and I will
Okay.
have to do so.
Okay.
I'm not going to appease those who employ me for whatever statement I made.
Okay.
I will have to please my boss,
Okay.
because I mean, she gave me the opportunity to say on the platform.
So you are telling me that I don't care what the circumstance is, you must please your boss.
Yes.
I don't care.
Yes, as long as I want
Whether-
to remain in that role, because Kuyate is only being listened to today as a public figure because of the position he occupied, and who gave him that opportunity is President Bouakai.
All right.
So to remain in that position,
So
to
you
have
please your
to
boss-
have a voice. If Kuyate is not in that position, he's not going to have a voice. He will be just an ordinary person passing around here. It is because of the position he occupies.
I think he's going to have a voice.
No, it will not be as loud as the position he
It's-
occupies. Because of
it's-
the position, his current position today, he got voice.
Quiet
People
has
listen to him.
Quiet. Sheikh Mustafa has always, have a voice.
Yeah, but I mean,
in our politics.
Yeah, but
he contested for the senatorial seat in the country. He's a prominent Liberian. Yes,
No.
I do agree with you that the current position that he occupies, is a critical position he gives in. I mean, there's more attention that goes to him when he speaks. But to say that, you please your boss, I don't care what.
He had a choice. He had a choice to stay in the job, or maybe stand by his statement and leave the position.
So, but then
he had a position to say.
If he had a choice, you know that, their position you in, you want the position. And you know very well that, I mean, the boss dictates to you, and you're going to listen to your boss whenever he dictates to you. Then why go on social media boasting that you and I apologize? Why go on social media bragging that I'm appearing today? My allegiance is to Liberia, is not to the lawmakers, is not to an individual. Presidents have come and presidents have gone. Lawmakers have been elected, served, and lawmakers have gone. So that statement alone, let me go back to this statement. Okay, so this is it. He said we have had former presidents, lawmakers, or regimes. However, we can never have a former Liberia. Our stance is an allegiance to the flag of Liberia and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will not apologize, but I will clarify my statement. From this context, it tells you that Kuyata is, I mean, when he appears before the lawmaker, he's not going to, be subjected maybe by their portfolio.
Which he even portray because you heard the lawmaker disagree, like nothing has changed. You still
it even tells you
mistake.
It even tells you that he will remain firm. This particular post tells you that he will remain firm. He's going to stand by his statement. I don't care what the situation is. Because what did he say here? He said, we have former lawmakers. So it even tells you that he was even willing to become a former ambassador at large. But he will stand by his statement.
The black portfolio made Kuyate to have a voice.
But then
the reason for which he was even someone, if Kuyate wasn't occupying the portfolio he holds today, I don't even think the lawmaker was going to summon him. It was just going to be that ordinary Liberians who accuse the lawmakers of being this and that, and they walk in the street of Monrovia free. It is because of a portfolio he was summoned.
I'm not talking about
so to stay in our portfolio,
so
the thing is, what you want to hold Kuyate to is because he said I will apologize, and he said, "No, but director of my boss, I regret what I said. I apologize to the lawmakers." So Kuyate didn't go there, as a Kuyate for what he said. He went
So,
there because
you
his
see-
boss had asked him to go there and apologize.
The fact is he would have still gone there if his boss had not asked him to go there.
How
Because
many ordinary Liberian lawmakers do some?
I mean,
It's people who occupy position of trust.
yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
of course.
okay.
Once you occupy a certain
Position
position
of
of trust and you make some reckless statement or you do certain things that are questionable, yes, the lawmakers can summon you.
If you look at the motive
to make clarification.
Kuyate motive was to let the lawmakers know that this is what the Liberians are saying. So because he got a voice and a lot of voice that many Liberians who say a street corner or in their home, so he went out to open to tell them. And because of that, they summoned him because of the position he went there.
The man went on a radio station, very sound-minded, educated man, and then you tell me that the man went to express Liberian motive.
The intent of Kuyate statement, that's it. Look, this is what Liberians are saying, and this is what you are demonstrating.
No.
And let me bring it to your attention.
I don't
You
want to
are
agree
very
with you,
corrupt.
Sylvester.
You are corrupt.
But Sylvester, please work on your internet.
I mean, it's giving
Please work
serious
on your
hard time. It's giving serious hard
on your
time for
internet.
my-
I don't know. The internet is on, so I don't know why you are on.
Yeah, because
but
all thing here.
but folks, that's it. I mean, if you say something here today and then you come flip flop on what you say, I mean, then it tells you that you can be intimidated. Now, Kuyate is telling us that his allegiance is to the president.
It's definitely his allegiance to the president.
Is to the president.
Yes,
It's
the
not to
higher office.
Liberia, like
It's-
he said earlier on.
Look, Liberia now is held through the office of the president, through the president. We may put it right. So President Bouaka now is the face of this country.
Okay.
He represents the country. So if Kuyate is loyal to President Bouaka, Kuyate is loyal to Liberia.
No. I want to respectfully disagree with you.
I mean, I respect your view,
Yeah,
but I'm telling you.
But I mean, allegiance to a country. There's a distinction between allegiance to your country and allegiance to the president. The president is an individual. Okay, so the president. We've had several presidents in this country who have not been doing the right things. We've had several presidents in this country who have let me conclude on this. We've had several presidents in this country who have instructed their subordinates to do the wrong thing. Okay, so if your allegiance is to an individual, if your allegiance is to the president, so if the president tells you go and steal, so it means
the best way
you are going to steal. But
No,
if
the
your
best
allegiance, if your allegiance is to the country, if the president instructs you to go and do the wrong thing, you will not do it because your allegiance is to the country.
And the best
is
way to
not to the
demonstrate
individual
your
who
allegiance,
occupies
and the
the
best way
presidency.
to
So
demonstrate
you
that
don't want to-
allegiance to the country is to resign your position. But you can't occupy that position and defy the president or the higher authority in that particular
So
institution.
you want to
So-
agree with me that allegiance to the president is not the same as allegiance to country? With the basis, with the
it
premise.
depends from the context you speak. Once you occupy that position, you must adhere to the mandate that comes from the higher up. If you want to express or demonstrate your allegiance to your country, is to just back off, and then people will know that this man is loyal to the country, because those who agree or who are in line with your thinking that whatever you are asked to do is
that
against
is
the
what-
interest of the state, they can walk off.
And that is what many thought that Sheikh Mustafa Kuyate would have done because of You know, the initial post that he made,
President Boake,
that he made
I don't want
following,
to be
following,
you know,
his,
I want to
his
resign my
appearance.
position because I can't apologize to the lawmaker.
Yeah, so folks, that's it. We already have our guests here in studio. 60 minutes on the flip side of 9 o'clock. We have Dr. Dube Chris Yan in studio. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we usher him in our stream. Yeah, this is the Today Show. My name is Yekezi Zwobel, and of course, Sylvester Wu is here. Let's take this break to be back with you.
And uphold that. And he promised the president that this president was very clear that he does not endorse the statements that were made by Ambassador Kuyate. The president also made it clear that in as much as he does not micromanage those that he appoints, and he respects dissenting views, but those views are given within the confines of alignment. And after you leave, your utterances out there should reflect the vision of the administration, part of which is working collaboratively with all branches of government, especially the House of Representatives and Senate. The ambassador in the conversation with the president, obviously I was privileged to be in that room, clarified that he had no intentions whatsoever to make remarks or to denigrate the honorable legislature. He promised the president that going forward, any statements that he intends to make will first be reviewed and approved by the president. The president also made it quite clear that he respects the working relationship he has with the legislature and that he expects all of us as his appointees to always respect and uphold that. And he promised the president that this particular incident will never occur again. And therefore, the president asked him and all of us to accompany him to come here and find a way forward and to make sure that the promises that he's made to the president will be upheld, which is to respect all of us as colleagues and as members of various branches of government in the execution of our duties. And therefore, distinguished honorables, for the actions that were taken by an appointee of the president, we assure you that the president does not endorse them. And we are very regretful that it has brought us to this moment where anyone will even start to doubt whether we have a collaborative working relationship. And therefore, we appeal to you to have mercy and to allow us as colleagues in the administration to continue to work within the administration. Some of us are very exuberant, and in the discharge of our functions, we slip, and we may not reflect deeply on what our remarks, the impact it will have. And I dare say this is one of those instances. And therefore, we've come here not to be confrontational, but to be respectful of the work that you do as direct representatives of the people, and to also convey to you the president's disposition on this particular incident.
What do you think is the way forward?
Yes.
No.
Speaker, before we go to that way
Minister, what do you think is the way forward?
Honorable Speaker, as to the way forward, please allow me to defer to Ambassador Kuyate.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished lawmakers, as the Honorable Minister stated, we had a meeting with the President earlier before coming here. He was very clear. He said, the relationship the executive enjoy with the legislature is something that should encourage us to work with them, to support them instead of criticizing them. So I regret my statement and withdraw it. And I ask that my intention might have been misinterpreted. For any reason, who misunderstood it, or whoever misinterpreted my
You still making the same mistake.
Because the information there is in Facebook. I want to read.
So we expect something to come after to conclude this thing. And when you keep dragging, apparently you don't want to believe. You don't know.
The man remorseful.
So please, Mr. President, let's solve this problem once and for all. Now that you regret, what do you want us to do? I've been listening over please. You say you regret, now what else do we see?
Social media and follow ya. Social media and newspaper. Follow ya.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, our distinguished members of the House of Representatives, as I stated, I regret my statement and I still hold this August body in high esteem, and I have great respect for you. By the rest of the President, I also want to use this time to say to you, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And you do the kind of apologize.
The president said, sorry. Yeah.
And the mail go back.
Honorable colleagues, this is what I expected from the ambassador to come to be remorseful, to say I sincerely apologize for the statement I made. Maybe the way, like the Honorable Minister said, sometimes we as lawmakers were making some statement, we are carried away by the crowd. We are carried away maybe by our appearances or where we are. The fact that he had realized and he came by being remorseful, I want to join him and other people from the executive. Also ask our police for us to pardon him and accept his apology in good faith. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Comment, please.
I just want to make this clarity. What we do here, these things that we carry on, they are not personal. It's in the interest of the entire government and the people of Liberia. When some statements are made by policy makers, it carries weight. And so the
welcome back. This is the Today Show right here on Phone 107.5. So it's also live on Fabric 101.1, Super TV, Fabric TV's Talk. So welcome. It's 25 minutes on the flip side for 9 o'clock. And we already have with us in our studio Dr. Ube Chris Yan. We would like to apologize if we are facing some technical problem here in our studio. So you want to see Dr. Yan on the screen. We are in the back and we will be asking all of the necessary questions this morning. So, welcome to it as we go on with conversation. If you want to take notes, we open the lines later on so that you call and make your contribution. Let me welcome Dr. Yan again. So, Dr. Walker. All right, it's always a pleasure having you here. All right. So now, how has it been? Okay. All right. Let's begin with the discussion because we don't have much of a time. I mean, let's start off with this issue of Ebola. You know, many Liberians still remember the horrors of the 2014 Ebola outbreak. Now, with the new outbreaks reported in parts of Africa, in the DR Congo, and in Uganda, is there a need for Liberians to be worried?
Certainly, in experience.
Mm-hmm.
Countries, there is a need for us to be concerned because these diseases will pass across borders, and so there are possibilities that we could, any country for that matter, could get an infection transmitted because of intercontinental travels.
Okay.
So we have to be concerned. The good thing is that over the years we've done our best as a country and as a region, erecting public health institutes. When I testified before Congress and proposed the establishment of public health institutes in the region on the continent and the establishment of the Africa CDC. That was a proposal before the US Congress, which was taken. And so since then, we've been building our public health infrastructure, training responders, biomedical researchers in other countries, not as much as I see here in Liberia at the Enfield, which I started doing at the time. And so, yeah, we should be concerned and we should be prepared.
Okay. So is Liberia truly safe at the moment?
Again, with a cross-border movement of people,
okay.
No country can say it is safe. You will note that there has already been transmission in a particular country in Europe. I just can't remember. I got that notification this morning.
Okay.
So we that are right here on the African continent that have flight connections, whether direct or indirect, with that region where the DRC Congo is and Uganda is and Sudan is, we should be really concerned. And so there is a possibility, but it could be remote if we are very well prepared, activate our prepared and response mechanisms in order to arrest any such situation or case when we encounter it.
Doctor, this issue of denial and fake rumors, there are rumors circulating. Look, Liberia already got suspected Ebola case or cases. I mean, how can we deal with the issue of fake rumor and denial?
That is a very important aspect of outbreak response. And during these times, you will have certain tendencies in a society where people spread information that is inaccurate, people spread misinformation, people spread rumors. If that is not coming from the entities themselves, it makes it all the more easier to contend with. There has to be important and robust public health awareness campaign going on, just as I did under my leadership during this MPOX. When we encounter certain rumors, we nip that in the bud immediately. We called the press, we spoke with the press, every agency. We taught the press certain nomenclatures and other things. And we started moving on well. From that very first point till this point, we've not heard any rumors about the mpox, measles, and Lassa outbreak response, which we're engaged in. It is quite unfortunate that Ebola, which is not even in the country, we're getting misinformation about that. And so I think the public health entity needs to double off its efforts in order to carry out very strong awareness in order to educate the public to avoid all of these contradictions. Now, the institutes themselves will have to be very careful as to how they transmit messages, meaning the healthcare institutions, the public health institutions, and the Ministry of Health, because we have seen that this recent situation emanated from the John F. Kennedy Medical Center, where there was an in-service training going on and messages transmitted, and we have a situation where it transformed into a rumor that had created panic, not just in Liberia, but in the region, because I remember seeing some bloggers in Sierra Leone already saying that, you know, there's an outbreak in Liberia. Yeah, which is not correct. It's inaccurate. There's no outbreak in Liberia so far as I know to this date. And so we these entities themselves have to be very transparent, have to be careful as to how they transmit messages. And also the awareness should not only go to the public, it should also be for employees of entities, because the manner in which we transmit message may be misconstrued. And so it's very important that we take that into consideration.
Do you think the health authorities were swift in, you know, borrowing from your own words, in nipping, you know, this recent rumor in the spot? Do you think they were swift? They were quick?
That's a very critical question, and the timeline can be looked at. I mean, this particular message.
I mean, it's circulated on social media
for hours and hours.
Yeah.
And I got these messages also, as you always know, and people send me these messages and want me to respond, want me to verify. There are a couple of colleagues in the US, medical doctors and public health practitioners, who send me these messages as well. And so when I woke up, I was struck. I looked around to see if the Public Health Institute had responded, and if the Ministry of Health had responded, if JFK had responded, and there was absolutely nothing. And so we have to be careful with the timeline, the time we allow for rumors to, you know, or inaccurate information to circulate. And like I said, under my leadership, we had that first incident during the Mpox. We immediately, once we caught that, within 1 to 2 hours, we were able to clear that away and inform the public appropriately on a very strong risk communication emergency approach. So public health entity, the NFIL, the Ministry of Health, and other medical entities around should be very robust in their response to these kind of messages. If not, it sets in and then it creates apprehension in the society, and it creates all of the misgivings and all of the conspiracy theories. People then start to come up with conspiracy theories, and that is what has gained ground now. There are a lot of conspiracies going around, and you know, it's left with the public health entity and the Ministry of Health to deal with that.
Is there a way that these misinformation can still be dealt with? Is there any approach that the health authority can carry out now to see how we can deal with these misinformation circulating?
Yeah, I think if they have the trained personnel, if they deploy the trained personnel, those who are really trained in risk communication, you know, there's a difference between public health risk communication and the regular healthcare awareness messaging. They're two different things, and people seem not to understand that. So if you know, politics can be taken out of the response efforts by the National Public Health Institute, the National Public Health Institute is able to deploy its trained manpower that are specific for this kind of obligation in terms of risk communication, Clarence. It becomes difficult when you have the rumors emanating or the misinformation emanating from the entity itself. In 2024 September, the same JFK came out with a release sometime that there was a outbreak of viral hemorrhagic fever, where you know these viruses where you have Ebola, Marburg, Lassa, etc. in Sierra Leone, and that was inaccurate. It advised its employees and get them to get prepared and all of that. The NFIL under my leadership had to come in to clarify that there was no outbreak. It was a suspected case which was being handled in Sierra Leone. And that case, in fact, was indeterminate, meaning they didn't even know whether it was it or it was not. So you cannot use terminologies that create panic. So that's one thing. In 2025, September, the Ministry of Health itself came out with this announcement of a viral hemorrhagic fever suspicion from a dead body that was taken off the ship from international waters. Activated all response mechanisms, that which the NFIL should have been doing. Under my leadership, we arrested it, made sure that we tested specimen from that dead body, and it came out to be negative. Yet there was an insistence by the Ministry of Health and the WHO country representative to, continue on testing and doing a lot of things, which would have been tantamount to probably coming up with results that were not accurate and would have been a false declaration of Ebola. And we resisted that with all of the technical capacities that we have in diagnostics. So that was the second one. Now this is the third, emanating again from the health sector. So it becomes very difficult when these, misinformation and attitudes are coming from the professional, from within the professional setting. It is different when you are looking at just ordinary people spreading rumors. So that's where the burden is more on the professional side than the layman's side. So they have to do their work. Allow the Public Health Institute to do its work. We've been trained for that over the years. This is prevention.
Okay.
And it's different from curative medicine.
Now, how prepared is Liberia, today to, kind of fight Ebola, just in case there's any outbreak, compared to 2014?
In 2014, we had, I can say, absolutely no mechanism in terms of public health response. There was no public health institute, but we had a biomedical research institute, which was the LRBR, that could do diagnostics, research work, and those kind of things. But we didn't have a public health institute. And that engendered the major element of my testimony to the US Congress in September 2014 to call for the establishment of public health institutes. Because from our experience out there, we know that there are biomedical research institutes, there are regulatory institutes, and there are public health institutes, like you have the US Centers for Disease Control. So the US embraced that. And we said, just as you have this US CDC, we also want an Africa CDC. And the US also embraced that and put a lot of money into it. Thanks to the US CDC, the United States Congress, that today we have these public health entities built around. Now, once they were built, there's a need to train public health responders, that which has been going on over the years since 2014, well, let's leave out 2014, since 2016, 2017, when the NFIL was established. So we have trained a lot of good epidemiologists, thanks to AFINET, which is one of the institutions that train epidemiologists on the African continent. So in that group, we have very well-trained public health responders that I can consider experts to this day, that you can mash up with any quote-unquote expert from the Western world or expert from around the continent. At the NFIL also, under my leadership, did increase the laboratory capacity broadly, because you have to have good and accurate diagnostics to respond well. If you don't know what you're responding to, you'll be swimming in an ocean of diseases. So train them. So we have these capabilities. Again, if these capabilities are allowed to work without political interference, without policy interference by the Ministry of Health, you will have a situation where we'll continue to beat back these diseases. We did that with Mpox. We did that with Lassa. We had beaten Lassa down considerably when I got there, slashed it, and at least to this date, we may not have any Lassa case in the country. There may be some suspected cases, but an active case we may not have at this point. COVID, back in the days, we dealt with, and we continue to monitor COVID. We continue to monitor Ebola and Marburg on a regular basis. So these are our prepared capabilities, but only and only if these capabilities are allowed to function will we be able to beat back any disease. If there are interferences, we will be headed for a disaster.
But there's this insinuation in the different communities that the health sector in the government of Liberia usually bring out these diseases in order to earn money. Like the case Ebola comes to Liberia, it is government and health officials who will benefit from the fundings that come from the international partners. What do you say to that?
Again, going back to the Ebola outbreak, there were a lot of money mobilized. In fact, the US government mobilized up to about $6 billion for Ebola response. And we had made representations to the US government that before Ebola comes to an end, we want public health infrastructures built. To this date, it is not clear how much of that money went into building of this infrastructure. When this happens,
how much of that money was even given to Liberia? That was $6 billion.
$6 billion for the entire response.
For the entire response. Not only for Liberia, but for the region.
But for the region.
Okay.
So that's the question. And I don't have figures. I'm not going to give you figures that I don't have, right? Okay. But I'm giving you the scope of the situation. As you will know, the Public Health Institute in Liberia is yet to have a space to work in, besides the makeshift office building that was constructed right on the Congota back road here. So it brings to mind what happened to all of this funding. There are a lot of, during the course of time, even COVID, when we had a COVID outbreak, pandemic, yes, there were a lot of resources that poured in. And where are those, what happened? What landmark have we been able to leave? Take, for instance, during that period, there were funding made available by entities, whether World Bank or USAID, for example, to purchase computers for the responders. These computers were purchased, and when these computers came in, these were laptop computers, about 130 plus. To this date, those laptops cannot be found. That was during the COVID era.
During the COVID?
during COVID,
On the
when
previous
Dr.
meeting.
Fala left.
Okay.
That was outside of Dr. Fala. I just want to give you the timeline. After Dr. Fala was booted out unceremoniously, the rest of the time, those funds started coming in, those materials started coming in. Nobody can account for those. Motorcycles that are supposed to be used for the responders to go around the counties, that are in the counties to go around. And these are the surveillance officers, we call them. County surveillance officers and district surveillance officers. Liberia also has zonal responders, zonal surveillance officers.
Okay.
Those you can find. So when I got there, one of the first things I did was at the Enfield was to put in for laptop computers. Those computers came and each of those responders got their computers.
But did you
when
push for accountability, when you took over?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I also did, with my leadership team, put in for motorcycles because these responders, surveillance officers need to move around. And those motorcycles should be coming anytime soon. When they come, I am not there. I propose very humbly that those motorcycles be given to the responders. They should not be given to relatives and friends or stolen and sold. I appeal to whatever the authoritative structure is at the National Public Health Institute now. When those motorcycles come in, assign them to those 100+ responders that we have, those surveillance officers in the counties and in the districts.
So the previous ones that went missing, the previous computers or equipment that went missing, were they accounted for under your leadership?
When I got there, the immediate thing we were confronted with was the vehicle theft.
Okay.
If you followed,
followed
that.
Yeah.
And that you had high authorities within the Enfield structure, public health structure, conniving to steal government and government vehicles and sell them. We arrested that situation. We went through a due process investigation. The Deputy Director General for Administration was forwarded to the Justice Ministry and the President for actions, including termination. The Deputy Director for Logistics was terminated by my leadership. We had a right to do that. The Deputy Director for Logistics was given a suspension, time indefinite, without pay.
Okay.
Three other personnel, drivers, were suspended for 3 months without pay. And I forwarded those reports to the Justice Ministry. And when I say our leadership team, which I represent, forwarded those to the Justice Ministry and to the President and to the board, the Enfield board. The investigation we did on that committee was the Internal Audit Agency, the Liberian National Police, and then Enfield staff. And so reports came out and we forwarded those reports. Those that were held corporate are now to be prosecuted according to the law. It is unfortunate that there are tendencies and requests being made to us at the time and up to the time I left to drop the case from the court. And under my leadership, we said, no, we will not drop the case because this is a theft issue.
And
this is corruption.
Who were making those requests?
The request emanated from cycles in the board.
Okay.
Yeah. And we said no. There were specific discussions held with me by the chairman of the board. And I said, no, we can't. We discussed with our SMT, the senior management team, and I fell back on them and asked them what their opinions were. And we all came to the conclusion that no, the case has been forwarded already to the Justice Ministry. These people have been investigated by the police. the police validated our evidence, and the evidence is available. We can share,
Okay. Now,
yeah.
Let's look at the preparations that the National Public Health Institute or the health authorities are currently making for a potential Ebola outbreak. There's an advisory out right now from the National Public Health Institute where those coming from the DR Congo, Uganda, those Ebola affected areas currently will be screened upon arrival and all of that. But internally, do you think the health authorities are doing enough to contain a potential Ebola outbreak? Because currently, as we speak, we still see people compacted in vehicles. That, like during the Ebola era in 2014, one of the most common word used was social distancing. We don't see social distancing. We don't see the fossil buckets at various government institutions, at businesses, people washing their hands. We don't actually see all of those. Do you think they're doing enough internally to enforce these precautionary measures?
It was a practice when I was there. Our put health officers, thanks to their diligence, that are assigned to all of the entry points, major entry points at the Ravos International Airport, Ganta, Waterside, at the Manikoman entry point with Sierra Leone as well, and then the Suleiman entry point with Guinea, and a few others, Toastown, and then at the entry point River G and Cape Palmas. Thanks to these put health officers for their diligence, when I was, under my leadership, we made them to be very robust. We were having regular visits in order to strengthen our borders. And so particularly for the RRA, our put health officers have been so superb. And I passed through them many times. Every time we passed through there, they were on their jobs. And mind you, these are people who were voluntary. They were not being paid. And that's something that I was working on, to have them on the payroll, all of the put health officers. For years, they've not been paid, yet they've been so dedicated to their work. And so thanks to all of you that have been putting in your patriotic services. And so it's a regular practice to check, all incoming passengers, checking their, and so for the outbreak, specific emphasis is then laid on countries that are involved. So those that are coming from those countries, DRC, Uganda, Sudan, Kenya is in a region also, and there's transit points in Kenya, there are transit points in Ethiopia. So you check those kind of passengers that are coming, whether directly or through transit. Yes, the advisory has been put out, but things are good on paper, as good as they will be in practice. And once we can effectively empower our put health officers, like I was doing, that diligence from them and their professional abilities will be enhanced in preventing an incoming or detecting a case that may come into our country. And now, isolation centers should be, activated and prepared by now.
But they are not.
Even during the Mpox, as you probably follow, we have the hand washing stations all around. I don't know if they are still there. That's a question, because these things have to be enforced regularly. The business entities, government entities, private homes, there's hand washing, sanitizing of your hand, keeping social distances. Don't, go into a crowd if it's not necessary. All of these things from the Ebola time to COVID, these general regulations, right? They apply to almost everything. So a constant enforcement of these regulations will save the day. And so again, I would say issuing statements, issuing advisories is as good as it can be unless it is put into active practice.
Dr. Yam, there is this rumor that Ebola, diseases like Ebola are man-made. I mean, you being an expert in the field, can you just spell out this rumors that Ebola is a man-made disease that's meant to put money in the pockets of few?
We have to be careful. And again, because of some of the misgivings, right? Some of the corruption that have gone through our public health and medical systems, not just only in Liberia, but you can see that in other countries. The population tend to come up with theories of their own. These tiny organisms that we can see by our naked eyes, right?
Yeah.
We have to use microscope and these things to see. These things predated us as humans. When I say predate, mean these things existed far before humans arose on the earth. So they have been around for millions of years. Now, they have their natural habitat where they live. Some of them naturally, like Ebola, you can find it in the bats, you can find it in other animals. Okay, that's the natural habitat. They don't cause any disease in the bats, they don't cause diseases in those other animals. But when they escape from there, and through whatever means, through the contact, which is the most common means through which is transferred, right? And they come into us humans, they are transmitted to us humans. We are a different habitat. So they will have to adjust themselves in order to survive. Their idea, now let me put it this way, it's not to harm you. The idea is to survive, right? But in that process of them surviving, they have to change a lot of things, and that's how we become harmed. Then we to start fighting them because these are foreign agents coming to us. So our own response, our immune response, what we call immune response, and their invasive action combine to create these diseases, what we call a pathogenic process. Now, it only goes to say that these diseases or these pathogens in general, they live in natural habitat. In the laboratory, in biomedical research, we are able to look at them and determine which gene is the one that is responsible for making them to cause the disease, right? Which gene is the one that is responsible for making them to resist certain medications that we gave them, right? Which we call antiviral or antimicrobial resistance. So we are able to do that. We cannot make viruses. Let me say it that way. As biomedical researchers, as scientists, those things are natural, but we are able to look at them just as we look at humans, right? And we are able to determine the human genes, and we are able to determine whether this child belongs to this person, right? Paternity test. We do the same thing to see whether this virus belongs to this family, whether this bacteria belongs to this order, whether this other zoonotic disease or pathogen belongs to whichever category of classification. So it's a conspiracy theory, and we have to, explain to our people through the same risk communication in public health in order to debunk these theories. Now, this can be debunked effectively if public health responders and medical researchers alike are transparent, accountable, and swift in providing accurate information to the public. It has to be an education Because even in the medical arena itself, there are doctors, there are medical people who didn't believe that COVID existed. They deny it, right? And that's how you have a lot of healthcare workers being infected back in the days as well. There was this denial among some healthcare workers that, COVID ever existed. So it's not just in the layman population, it's also in the professional realm. And so it is through very good educational, pedagogic, scientific communication in the form of risk communication by public health practitioners, accurate information and timely delivery of such information that will be able to debunk these things.
Okay, and talking about the family of Ebola virus, currently we have another strain of the virus called the Bundibugyo Ebola virus. Is a kind of rare type of Ebola virus. I mean, how deadly it is compared to the previous strain that that existed in Liberia in 2014.
Well, Ebola virus in general is a deadly virus. When you class them as we class the pathogens, it's a class 4. Class 4 is the highest. Yeah. So you can imagine how deadly it is. That is why you see when we are responding, we have to wear all those real heavy protective gears with respirator on our backs, as opposed to if you were dealing with something like E. coli, that you can even touch with your hands with no mask or anything. So it's very deadly. There are 6 types.
Okay.
Right. The Zaire, the Bundibugyo, which is causing the havoc now in Central African Republic and in Uganda. When I say the Central African Republics, meaning like Sudan and DR Congo and Uganda. Then we have the Reston strain, and then we have the Taif forest strain or type. There is another type, which is the 6th type that is still being characterized. So I'm not going to go into that. They're all deadly. Okay. There have been outbreaks of those intermittently since 1976 when the Ebola virus was first detected. And Zaire has been the most common and most prevalent ones that have caused the diseases all around. So in DR Congo, in Sudan, here in West Africa, 2014 outbreak, and then the little spikes of outbreak that we had in between. Bundibugyo and the rest of them have been pretty much quiet, right? But they have caused outbreaks at some point as well. So not much effort, not much attention has been given to them because we've been giving our attention to the most virulent, very virulent and prevalent one. Yeah. Right. So that's why people never heard about it much. But now that it has caused this big outbreak in the DR Congo, and you know how huge that country is, the region where this outbreak is now taking place, which is the epicenter, is very huge. I mean, it's a very huge region. So even accessibility is an issue. And so, yeah, it is as deadly as the others.
All right, so let's move over to your legal issue with the government, except maybe
no, man.
when we had
there
other
was
questions pertaining to
man.
this Ebola
He, I mean, he be expecting the fee. I mean, in the closing, I would just want him to throw light on the recent call by the African Disease Control to carry on more research so that they themselves can begin to develop vaccine or medication for some of these diseases are causing havoc on the continent.
Correct. And these are meetings that we held consistently because research and development, we think, must be grounded in our response efforts in Africa. We can always wait for the outside world to do these things for us and then just feed us with them. So we have astute technical capabilities, scientists alike, that are capable of carrying out this research. And so the Africa CDC has been focused on research and development and manufacturing as well. And as you've seen, most of my calls, I've always called for us doing our own research, for us manufacturing our own diagnostic kits, our own test kits, our own vaccines, for example. So the Africa CDC is really leading this effort, is really leading this push for Africa to take hold of its own, research priorities. But now it requires heavy investment from our national governments. Research and development is very expensive. It doesn't come easy. So it requires immense budgetary support from our governments. You can't depend on handouts to do research. You will note that during the COVID, for example, how did we come out with the COVID vaccine so fast? Because the United States gave several companies billions of dollars to develop a COVID vaccine. And Pfizer, Moderna, they came up quick with the mRNA technology, came up with a vaccine that saved the world. Okay. So that's the thing. The Africa CDC is really pushing this for Africa to do its own research and development and manufacture on the continent. And that includes diagnostic tests and vaccines, as well as other pharmaceuticals. Under my leadership at the Enfield, we did develop this platform to begin to develop our own diagnostic test, okay, right? Using the technology that I have already, and that I also, at the time, given to the government in 2016 when I served as national orator, that they could use my invention, part of my invention, to produce diagnostic tests on the continent. And so, thanks to the director of the Africa CDC, Dr. John Kaseya, the rest of the leadership, and our own Dr. Fala, who is at the forefront. He's the director for research and development at the Africa CDC. And he's been really, really working hard to mobilize resources to bring together African scientific minds. Most of those conferences that I went to myself, we came up with documents on that. And that is what we need. That is why when, under my leadership at the Enfield, we had only 5 diagnostic technicians at the laboratory, which was a disaster. And when I came in, I recruited about 20 to 25 of our young, scientific minds that I also helped to mentor over the years, and brought them in, trained them, brought in some equipment, new equipment, and then brought in the genomic sequencing technology. And you can see how science started to flourish. I'm so proud of 2 of our young scientists that I was training that came up with their publications, for example, from work that they did in collaboration with the University of Liberia. And that's Randall Yene and Pampala. So I mixed it up sometimes. Yeah, but you know who I'm talking to, please.
Okay, Dr. Young, let's now transition to your legal matter with the government of Liberia. I mean, the Supreme Court discharged your relief from the National Public Health Institute as illegal, as unconstitutional, and as a violation of due process. Since then, how has it been? What went through your mind when you heard this ruling?
All through my life and advocacy as an activist for democracy and social justice, throughout my life, I can say from baby up to this point, I've always, strived to adhere to the rule of law, promoting democratic tenets and respect for human rights. Those things which I advocated for all through these years that landed me and other colleagues in prison, and was released from prison by the military government, and I continued studying. Came back over the years now to contribute, right? After contributing to other countries, and there was this call that you need to come back now. You need to come back and help us. You've done this thing all around the other countries. Now it's time for you to come to Liberia and settle in. But before then, I had come in and rendered voluntary services, as you have documented. So I decided, yes, it's time. Let me get back, home. And so I came home and went through the vetting process and was selected through the vetting process and legally installed and appointed as the Director General of the National Public Health Institute. And immediately I took off. And the results, the progress we made is well documented by the NFIL's own report, by the GAC report, and interestingly, by the Executive Mansion's own report awarding us, NFIL, under my leadership at the time, this Excellent Performance Award. It came as a shock to see that, I got this termination letter from the president on the one hand. On the other hand, it was anticipated because there was this situation where the board consistently undermined the work of the NFIL board. They spent the entire time that I was, from the point I was appointed up to the point, they spent the entire time trying to remove me.
Trying to remove it?
Yeah.
And the board comprises of?
The board comprises of people who are medical doctors and statutory members like the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Health, University of Liberia, and two other government entities. Then the non-statutory members include the chairman, who is Dr. Stephen Kennedy, the Walter Gwenigali Jr., Dr. Moses Dopo, Dr. Angela Benson, and all these doctors.
Okay.
And they go to these meetings and come up with all these weird situations.
For example, why do you think the board tried undermining your leadership or your efforts?
Tried to remove you.
Well, quite frankly, because I was stern with what I was doing.
You were stern,
straightforward. Meaning, like I said, the first thing I was confronted with was this car theft.
Okay.
I had to nip it in the bud. The board chair's quote unquote son was part of this theft.
Okay.
So his son was part of this car theft, and that's somebody he's taken care of all these years. The Deputy Director General for Administration was his close buddy who all came from WLT, AMWLT together.
Okay.
They once participated in WLT leadership together.
Okay.
So it seems that there is this protective mechanisms among these people when you are being straightforward. And I think they're then used to bending the corners. And so you don't fit within that cycle. Because if you look at all the reports, right, nothing you can see that I did wrong.
Okay.
It's documented that
I
did nothing wrong.
In their resolution, they accused
right.
They accused you of several things. They said poor coordination with the Ministry of Health, lack of collaboration with the government institutions, failure to involve the board in key decisions, and disregard for the statutory authority of the board. They went on to say you traveled persistently without the board's knowledge. You submitted communications to the president and the national legislature without the board approval, and you conducted affairs through the media without proper authorization. So those are some of the things
that those were the lateral decisions that you were taking without consulting the board.
I think one of the things that I have seen in the Liberian governance setting is that most of these boards don't know their responsibilities.
Most of
these boards do not know their responsibilities.
What is their responsibility?
They are there to evaluate the entities quarterly. They are not there to run the entities along with the administrators that are put in those entities to run those entities on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So when you read all of those things, it sounds like a board that wants to run an entity, that want to dictate to technical, knowledgeable people, right? And some of the things placed in there are very questionable because on the board, you have Dr. Bernice Dan as well, I forgot to name her, are people who've been in ministerial leadership, directorial leadership, etc. And these are people that will come back to want to micromanage an entity that is scientific, autonomous, and should be independent in its scientific thinking and movement. It's very, very, very questionable. But let's look at some of those points. By the way, you read my response to all of those points, and you saw that there was no validity, there was nothing accurate in what they were saying. It was all lies. Those points were tested through the legal system, and the legal system also found no evidence in that. So I don't want to bore your time going through them one by one because
no evidence in the number of travels you made with for
no evidence in me traveling and not informing the board. There were emails, there were text messages, there were memos indicating that the board, the chairman, Dr. Stephen Kennedy, was informed when I was traveling, and it was through courtesy. There's nothing in the statutory regulations that says when you are traveling, you need to tell the board and they must permit you to travel. When do you go for a scientific meeting? Now, let's look at one point that you communicate with the president without the approval of the board. Doesn't make any sense that the board should give approval to a director general who reports directly to the president. Okay. The director general of the NFA reports directly to the president. So how can the board give approval before such a person?
All of those also depends on the act creating the,
and that's what I'm
the
saying.
institution.
The act is there.
Okay.
All of what they said was in violation of the act. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
All of this, what were listed there, were in violation of the act. Okay. Yeah. Their entire 11-point resolution was pure lies. And we put it that way because my response, going through it, debunk every point.
All right.
The board says there was no resolution sent, there was no quarterly report sent to the board. And you look in my response and you look at everything, you see an email sending the quarterly report attached to it to the board. So for people who call themselves doctors to sit and put together 11 lies, it's very troubling. Okay. This is some of the places where some of the misinformation come from, some of the what we call where people don't respect professionals, because you don't lie in broad day like that. And the courts, not just a lower court, the Supreme Court, look at the same evidence, right? Accusation and my response, and said there was no evidence in what they were saying.
Okay. And the president, the Ministry of State, I think, following the board recommendation to the president, the president requested your response, and I want to believe the Ministry of
requested.
State,
I requested, yes. Okay. Yeah. The Minister of State designated at the time, Steve Queer,
okay,
called me and said there's a resolution from the board, and there are 11 points, and he read those points to me like an indictment in court. And so the board is calling for your removal, and that I'm going to forward this to the president. The president was at the UNGA at the time.
Okay.
And then the president will advise us on what to do. And so my question to him was, he said, so that's all? And I said, that's all? He said, yeah. I said, but
never requested for your response.
No. And I said, that's all? He said, yes. That was in the presence of Bushuben Keita, who is the legal counsel.
Yeah.
And another lady called Massa, who is some HR person at the Ministry of State.
Okay.
And all of them said the same thing to me. And I asked, is that all? Say yes. So he said, that's all. Yeah, you can leave if you want. And I said, no. First and foremost, I don't know about any such meeting. If the board is meeting, the secretary to the board is the director general of the entity. So that was the first violation. So that means this meeting was held, or these meetings were held in secret. Okay. That creates conspiracy. You talk about a resolution. I don't have a copy of the resolution. He said, oh, you don't have it? You were not served? I said, no. I said, may I have a copy of the resolution so that I can respond? Can you please inform the president that I do want to respond to this? So I requested to respond. I was not even given a chance to respond to that. And he said, okay, I'll get back to you. And after a day or two, I got this response. He called me in again. I went back and the same three, person, he, Councilor Bushman Keita, and this lady called Massa. And they asked me, he said, well, you requested the president that you kindly needed to respond. The president agreed that you respond. Your response should be sent within 48 hours. I said, So I said, okay. So attached is the resolution that you requested to see. And that was the first time I was seeing a resolution. And so I went to work and responded to them. My response debunked every count that the board had in their erroneous and lying resolution.
Did the president review? Did you get to know actually that the president reviewed your response and still went on with your relief?
I requested for a review at the end of my response. Did you read my response? Yeah. I wish you had the opportunity of reading some of my responses so that the audience too will know how I responded. And I requested a review and never got that review. The only thing I saw and heard was that I was terminated. Yeah. I was asked to come for the letter.
I listened to you say people try to micromanage entity you heard. Yeah. Could you just demonstrate some of the allegations that you were unilaterally making decisions?
That was debunked in my response. We have a senior management team, all right, that governs the entity on a daily basis. And that senior management team made decisions. So decisions were not unilateral. So, and that's the weirdest thing about, this group of people, doctors, that have these conspiracies and lies and send them over to the president. Now that the court have determined that these were all lies with no evidence, why are these people still around? I think we need to institute integrity and ethics in our work here in this country. Okay. In other countries, these people will not be around. One of the interesting thing is that the board also sent an affidavit signed by the chairman of the board, Dr. Stephen Kennedy. The Minister of Health, Dr. Louis Poto, sent also an affidavit. And the court found all of these to be lies. No evidence were in those affidavits. So it's troubling, really, to be very frank with you. From where I was trained and where I worked all these years in the West, Europe, and United States and around, it's strange. I've never seen such a thing where you keep unethical people around. I don't know.
The Ministry of Justice feels that the case has not yet been concluded. According to them, I mean, they took an appeal to the full bench of the Supreme Court to come down with a final ruling, because the ruling from the Associate Justice in Chamber, I mean, can be overridden, by maybe majority members of the Supreme Court.
And they have the right to do so through the legal process, but it sometimes becomes very concerning and that if people look at the truth and still try to circumvent the truth. Okay. Yeah, I mean, as simple as it is. I will ask the audience that are listening and anybody out there to read my response and read, you know, you can go back on Spoon FM and then you will see those responses. I think OKFM also published those things, and you will read those things, even without being a legal-minded person. Just from an administrative standpoint, you will read those. You will see the evidence countering every count of this Bose resolution. So, can the Justice Ministry say that Dr. Nyang did not submit the quarterly report? Can the Justice Ministry now go to the full bench and say Dr. Nyang did not support the annual report? Can the Justice Ministry go to the full bench and say Dr. Nyang traveled without knowledge of the board when all the evidences are there? So excuse me. So I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. It is their right to do that. But if they are delaying the process of justice, that in itself is injustice.
What has this done to your national and international reputation? Has it affected?
Well, I think their aim was to tarnish my reputation. Okay. As you will see, it was a conspiracy, have no basis in any evidence, and so I had to clear my side.
Did they achieve in the conspiracy to maybe tarnish your?
Well, they achieved in removing me, and then the international community and other people will try to figure out, but why was he removed? That question, why, alone creates a cloud, and many other things.
After the ruling, you were asked to choose reinstatement or get your due benefit. What do you think?
No, I was not asked to choose. The ruling was ordered. The government was ordered and mandated to either reinstate or pay the rest of my time because they broke a contract.
So, and what do you stand with that?
It's not my place to decide.
I mean, if
the ruling had come to me, my lawyers and I would determine the best course forward. But the ruling didn't mandate me; it mandated the government.
But if the government should reinstate you, should make a decision to reinstate you, are you still willing to go back there at the NFL?
Let's see what the government comes up with. And I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to presuppose anything. I came to this country to work, right? To serve my people. Okay. And I still serve the continent. I serve the world. Man. So if they want me to, if they make a choice, then there will be discussions on those choices they make. So I can't presuppose anything at the moment.
If you have to go back to NFL, you still need those same group of people who you think shouldn't be around the sector any longer. I mean, are you still willing to work in that environment?
Well, again, it depends on what decision the government makes. The fact that the government, as you said, they want to take a full, appeal to the full bench, that suggests that they are still contentious. And so we have to wait to see what happens.
They are contentious, but you are relaxed.
I'm relaxed. I'm doing what I do. I'm doing what I was trained to do. With or without a government job.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yang. We have gone far beyond time. It's been a pleasure having you here in our studio. Always, availing yourself whenever we call. Thank you very much. Anything finally you want to say that maybe we did not ask in parting?
I just like to admonish the world and our people to be very practical and cautious with the various diseases, that are in outbreak more at the moment. We are still in Mpox outbreak. It's not finished yet. We have Lassa, we have measles. We are still monitoring COVID regularly, Marburg, and the very Ebola we are talking about. So do those things that we said and we ask you to do. Wash your hands constantly. Sanitize them. Those little pocket-sized sanitizers we carry around? Yeah. Keep using them. If you're not supposed to be in a huge crowd, avoid it.
If the number of people in the taxi and the buses.
They can do that, and that will be left with discussion between the Transport Ministry and the regulating agencies. And it's just these public health preventive measures that I will ask our people to continue to practice. That's why we were trained for. That's why I was the chief responder as the Director General of the National Public Health Institute, and we have to continue to enforce this. I still do what I do with or without being in a government position.
And quickly before you leave, I watched your interview on the Al Jazeera lately. I mean, do you still consider yourself as the Director General of the National Public Health Institute?
Read the court rulings, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, read the court rulings.
So you're saying
everything is legal.
Because you are here now and we are asking to know if you still consider yourself. I mean, the audience following you who also want to hear from you because they all may not be.
With the court also affirmed a prohibition. And you know what a prohibition is, right? That the dismissal is automatically reversed.
Okay.
And whoever that the government put in there should not be there. So legally there is illegal.
So legally, you are
certainly
the director.
So it's all legal.
But in practice, you are not.
Well, whichever way we want to put it, what remains is that I am Dubé Christopher Nyan, who studied medicine in Germany, who was trained as a scientist in the US and have been practicing my profession all over the country on a voluntary basis and on official basis when I work with the US federal government at the NIH, the FDA, and the Naval Medical Research Center, as well as the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine. And I've come back repeatedly over the years since 2005 to perform voluntary services, train responders, train diagnostic technicians, serve in the various academic institutions, teaching medical microbiology, volunteer at a medical school for a whole semester teaching medical microbiology. Hi to all my students that have graduated and are serving in the medical arena of this country and in the world. And so that's where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good having you.
All right. It's been a pleasure having you. So, folks, that's it. He's Dr. Dubé Chris